Everybody knows Tom Hanks, right? Of course you do. Big, Splash, Saving Private Ryan, The Green Mile. He was Forrest Gump. He was the Castaway. He was Captain Phillips. And then way back in his early days, he was also at a bachelor party. Yeah, Bachelor Party. This is a film from 1984. This is pretty early in Tom Hanks' career. I mean, he did some minor work on television in the 70s, and then in 1980 he was cast in a show called Bosom Buddies with Peter Scolari. Now, way back in the day, I actually reviewed that. There'll be a link in the end of this video to that episode. In 1980, he was in a movie called He Knows You're Alone. Pretty minor role in a pretty minor movie, but it was his first film performance, so it's notable. In 1982, he was in the television movie called Mazes and Monsters, which was a cautionary tale about Dungeons and Dragons and how playing it turns you into a psychopath and is evil. And Tom Hanks hallucinates that he's inside this fantasy game, and then he finds his way to the top of the World Trade Center and is about to jump off or some shit. And now, the same year as Bachelor Party, Tom Hanks was also in Splash, which I guess was his big breakthrough. Well, he did pretty well with Bosom Buddies on TV, but Splash was his first hit movie. Coincidentally, later that year, Bachelor Party came out, 1984. Now, this is a comedy. A classic example of a sex comedy with surprisingly not really that much sex in it. I mean, there's some topless women and stuff like that. There's a lot of implied sex and lots of sex jokes. Just nothing really explicit, or Tom Hanks doesn't actually take part in any of that stuff. So he's a young, hip guy, I guess mid-20s, early 20s, something like that, hanging out with his buddies. And they all meet, and he says, I have to tell you guys something, I'm getting married.
I'm getting married.
Yeah, right, yeah.
A week from this Saturday, I turn in my amateur standing, and I go pro.
And they're all super pissed off at him because he's this popular bachelor guy and whatever, and he's like, oh, I can't believe you're settling down. And then, meanwhile, he's gonna be marrying Tawny Kitaen. I can't remember her character name, but the girl that was in the Whitesnake videos was married to David Copperfield, or Coverdale, married to David Coverdale for a while. You remember the Whitesnake videos where she's rolling around on the Mercedes or Jaguars or whatever. Yeah, that girl. So he asks her to marry him, and they agree to get married. And so the friends are yeah, they're pissed off at him, of course, but they're well, we gotta throw you a bachelor party.
The least we can do is make sure you go out in style.
Yeah, let's have a bachelor party with chicks and guns and fire trucks and hookers and drugs and booze. Yeah.
Future wife gets wind of this, and she makes him promise that, hey, you're not going to mess around. The whole movie's basically about getting with hookers at your bachelor party. By the end of the movie, he proves that he's not going to break down and he's going to keep his promise, and he does.
I'm a great guy, and very soon, you're going to be Mrs. Great Guy, all right?
And that's the end of the movie. But it's packed full of jokes. Let me tell you.
And now, to our honored guest Rick and his lifelong friends, I say, gentlemen, start your boners.
There's one really pointless scene where he's at home and he's making dinner, for his fiancée before she gets home, and they already live together and everything, but I guess they're gonna, tie the knot and all that. But the scene is just him just making dinner and talking to himself, making jokes, and making, well, basically like dad jokes.
Time for spice. Yes, it's spice time. And the lucky spice is paprika!
You can be the happiest spice in the world.
Ah, vino. A little vino would be kino. Want some wine? It's America's favorite food, dead animal flesh, yeah.
Tom Hanks probably had a pretty good stand-up or improv career in the 70s that led everybody to want to put him in movies and be the star. Because, he's charismatic, he's funny, but he's kind of an asshole,
Hi, sister. You look terrific today. What have you done with your hair? Sister, if you ever get lonely after Vespers, I am the man to call. My number's in the book.
This reminded me a lot of, like a Jim Carrey movie or an Austin Powers movie, where it's like basically, okay, Mr. Hanks, do your thing. You're cooking in the kitchen, and here's what you're working with, and just say something funny. And it wasn't that funny. Going back on it, I guess back in the 80s, early 80s, when I was like 13 or 14 and I saw this movie, I thought it was awesome. First of all, because there's topless women in it and stuff, and sex jokes, poop jokes, bestiality jokes. And being 14 years old, this shit was hilarious. But to go back and watch it again, oh man. It's just like what happened with Cannonball Run. Remember Cannonball Run? I thought it was awesome when I was a little kid. Then I went back and watched it 2 years ago or whatever, and I fucking hated it. I didn't hate this, but I didn't laugh when I watched this. I just rolled my eyes, and I was like, oh my god, this is what I thought was funny when I was 13. I was a jerk. Because a lot of these jokes, they just don't hold up. We're talking 40 years ago. A lot of this shit's not going to fly today. I mean, basically the punchline to all these jokes are things that are actual real issues in the 2020s, like sexism. Lots of sexist jokes in here. There's jokes about trans people. Okay, that's all well and good. I mean, everybody's a target when it comes to comedy. But I mean, that's the punchline of the joke.
Hi.
Hello.
It's, oh my god, that's really a dude. Alright, well, it was funny in 1984 because I didn't know anybody that was trans or didn't even know about it. Yeah, and things like, okay, well, now there's a bunch of Japanese businessmen, and they're that was a common punchline to a joke in, say, 1984, and it's here. Also stuff like, this guy's a pimp, because they have to go and get hookers, right? But the funny thing is, he's got an Indian accent.
Hey, bro, what it be? I got women, they sit on your face, anything you want. Girls back in 45 minutes, or milk cuts your balls off. Fair enough? Shake.
And he sounds really funny when he's trying to be badass, and that's the joke. Basically making fun of the guy's accent and his culture, and it's like Apu. I mean, Apu got canceled. Tom Hanks himself, I don't know how much of this he actually wrote, other than a few scenes where he probably improvised a bunch of lines. I don't know how much of the jokes in here that he wrote, but a lot of it's kind of mean-spirited, but at the same time, it's about as offensive as, say, Revenge of the Nerds, or 16 Candles, something like that. It's the same level of humor. Well, a little bit more racy, but I wouldn't call it offensive. Just not really that funny. Yeah, didn't hold up. So sorry, Tom. Mr. Hanks. I'm going to have to give Bachelor Party 1984 a C+. Yeah, it did its job in 1984. It made us laugh back then, but it just can't do that in 2025. It's still a pretty big hit for Tom Hanks. It still, launched his career even further. And then a couple years after that, he was also in Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd. Was a big boost to his career. The Money Pit. I have a copy of The Money Pit. I'll have to get around to watching that one sometime soon. But overall, Bachelor Party, yeah, it's exactly what the title says it is. It's just, 2/3 of the movie is the Bachelor Party and all the crazy stuff that happens. You gotta get one over on the rich dad.
I think you're an asshole.
And the rich, preppy, competing ex-boyfriend and all that stuff. And
God, now she's really gonna see what kind of a jerk-off she's marrying.
And there's a lot of cartoony violence. And there's a lot of really childish, not childish, but immature jokes in this film. And it's all well and good. It's just not good enough to be more than a C+. So yeah, it might be a while till I get to another Tom Hanks movie. I've been tending to want to watch more sci-fi and horror, and less comedy. Although I do have a crap ton of Tom Hanks movies that I gotta get to and watch someday. And I guarantee you they're probably gonna be better than this. So until then, or until the next movie review video, stay safe out there, everybody, and have a good one.